peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
EACC, I take action hata wakipeleka huko cases. I don't know your take on that.
Nusi wamechukua muda mrefu sana. Sababu mimi nimesema kwa undani. So hata wakiponea huku hawataponea. Leo tuko na mtego ambaye paka ishike watu. So tulia MCAs muamke kwa kazi yenu. Mmebaki na mwaka moja kuchaguliwa na wananchi wanawangoja in 2022 wawapime kwa ratili ni kazi gani mlikuwa mnafanya. Ile panel ambayo inaenda kuchagua wale commissioners, ni muhimu hiyo panel ni lazima ikuwe na sura ya vyama zote Kenya, ikuwe na sura ya Kenya nzima, kwa sababu hiyo panel ndio inaenda kudecide ni commissioners wa gani wanakuja. So kama hiyo panel tayari iko na sura ya vyama fulani peke yao, basi mimi ningependa kusema mimi kama mwanachama wa ANC I'm not comfortable with that panel as it stands right now, kwa sababu ukiangalia commissioner wale ambao wamewekwa katika hiyo members wamewekwa katika hiyo panel ya kuangalia, wa kwanza ni Commissioner Rachel Ameso ambaye ana represent ODM. Wa pili ni Commissioner Keinan ambaye mnajua ana represent nani. Wa tatu ni Commissioner Beth Mugo ambaye pia nyinyi mnajua ana represent nani. Na mwingine ni Chepkonga. Tunaitarajia LSK watupatie panelist mmoja na religious body watupatie panelist mmoja. Lakini mimi nasema hivi kwamba inafaa hiyo panel i-reflect kwamba vyama zote zitakuwa comfortable kurecruit referee ambaye anaenda kuangalia. Sisi kama ANC tungependa kusema kwamba hatujaona interest ya ANC hapo, hatujaona interest ya Ford Kenya hapo, hatujaona interest ya Wiper hapo, hatujaona interest ya KANU hapo. Mimi najua watu wengi wataogopa kusema hii maneno, but we must speak right now. Kwa sababu hata BBI imefomiwa kutatua zile vitu zinaitwa electoral injustices ambazo tumekuwa tukiangazia kwa miaka mingi sana. Kwamba kila uchao baada ya kura watu wanapigana kwa sababu IBC haiko sawa. IBC ni ile ya kulalia upande moja. So mimi ningependa kusema ni lazima hiyo panel ambayo inaenda kuchagua wale commissioners wengine ikuwe panel ambayo ni ya uwazi, ambayo haiendi pale kupewa strict instructions kwamba wachague mtu fulani ndio 2022 ikifika wasaidie candidate fulani. Na tayari tushawaona wameshalalia upande mmoja, wangependa mtu fulani akuwe rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Jambo la pili, ningependa kuambia wanaharakati wa ODM kwamba hatutaruhusu sisi mungatue Chebukati kama chairperson wa IEBC. Yule Chebukati na Professor Abdi Yakub na Mr. Boya Mulo, wale commissioners ambao wako hapa sasa hivi wabaki. Mkitaka kurecruit wengine, mrecruit wengine, lakini yule chairman na wale commissioners ambao wamekuwa kwa IBC ni lazima wabaki, ndio kukuwe na kitu inaitwa institutional memory. Hawezi futa kila mtu na ulete commissioners wageni ambao hawana experience na kuna referendum na kuna elections. Haiwezekani bana. Na hizo elections zitakuwa elections za kwanza ambazo zitakuwa na zile nafasi kama new woman senator, woman
A very good morning to you. Thank you so much. That is Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala there making his case on behalf of the Luhya Nation, and is saying there has been a targeted attack on the IEBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati and those that have been bailing for his removal as the chairperson of IEBC, and they're saying the sole reason why they want him removed is because he is Luhya, which is quite interesting there. I don't know, but my name is Miriam Nguta. This is the People's Court, and our conversation this morning is should use of technology be scrapped in the Kenyan 2022 election? Because one of the leading newspapers here in the country this morning had that as their headline, and we know that President Uhuru Kenyatta on April 14th declared the positions vacant following the resignation of 4 IEBC commissioners after the disputed 2017 presidential elections. The 4 included Vice Chairperson Consolata Nkatha, Commissioners Margaret Mwachaya, Paul Kurgat, and Roslina Kombe. And on yesterday's paper, the Star newspaper, page 6, they had a story where Chebukati may oversee election as ODM critics abandon reforms push. IEBC chairman Wafula Chebukati and his 2 colleagues could still supervise the high-stakes 2022 presidential contest. Key political players who were bailing for their blood appear to have gone slow on the push to overhaul the commission and send the top brass packing. Chebukati and the Secretariat were accused by the Supreme Court of bungling the hotly contested 2017 presidential election that was found to have been marred by massive irregularities and illegalities. And that is where we shall start our conversation this morning before we get to the headline on the Star this morning, where they're saying that the CSS plot to scrap IEBC's technology use in 2022. Paul, and joining me this morning is Jevan Karanja from Nanyuki. Jevan, a very good morning to you.
A very good morning to Miriam. Good morning to our viewers. Good morning to my fellow panelist, Douglas Kirimi. Always a pleasure being on Punchline Africa TV. Thank you.
Nice to have you, Jevan. And we're also joined by Douglas Kirimi. Douglas, a very good morning to you.
A very good morning to you, Miriam Mogutu, to my friend Jevan Karanja, to our crew, and also to our friends across the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where they're watching us from. Thank you for having me on the show.
All right, Karibu Sana. Now, before we even get to our topic this morning, just going back on this story on the Star newspaper yesterday, and we know that IEBC was one of the correspondents in the 2017 after the hotly contested election, and the petition that challenged President Uhuru Kenyatta's win, which was annulled, and then we had to go for another election. Was that not an indictment enough? Because IEBC was found to have, bungled those elections. So should that not be the reason enough, just looking at that, for Chebukati not to be trusted to hold the next election? Jevan.
Yeah, thank you very much, Miriam. And we know for a fact that what transpired in 2017 general elections, it was marred by a lot of irregularities, electoral malpractices, and to some extent, the election was not very viable and it was not credible. Therefore, to that extent, denies the Electoral Commission led by Chebukati the test of time that they can be trusted in future to hold a general election that will be free from this corruption. Because they have not worked hard to ensure that they rectify the mess that happened in 2017. But what we have been seeing is Wafula Chebukati and his team trying to play some sideshows, trying to play some political patronage to some political elites. We have seen them trying to sabotage even the process that we have of BBI. And we know what happened. They have been calling it all kind of names to a point where their Twitter handle termed it as a Burning Bridges initiative. Therefore, these are a commission that is not really determined, and it has not come out clearly to portray or to prove to Kenyans that they are the people, the best team that can oversee the 2022 general election or the referendum, the looming referendum courtesy of the Constitution Amendment Bill 2020. Therefore, for me, and from what the court recommended in 2017, Wafula Chebukati has done a negligible amount of recommendation in place. He has not bothered to ensure that he works the recommendations to implementations so that he cleans the mess that we already have in the IEBC. Therefore, I don't see it as the best team to go and oversee our election unless they come out, they sanitize, they are taken for a quarantine so that we have at least new people who we can trust with the process. But the way it is, something needs to be done. Some sanitization needs to be carried out, and fumigation around the IEBC so that at least we can guarantee ourselves a credible election, if not a free and fair election. Because we know, Miriam, for a fact, one quality of democracy is a competitive, regular, free and fair elections. Therefore, if we want to test even our democratic space as a country, we must guarantee ourselves credibility in the next polls or in the coming referendum. And to work on this issue clearly, we need a new team for that is my recommendation. That is what BBI recommends, a new team that will oversee this election. But from this team, Miriam, I don't trust the team led by Wafula Chebukati, and I will not agree with Senator Cleophas Malala that Chebukati is being targeted because he is a lawyer. In this country, we need to move from this tribal and ethnic conversation and rotate around the issue of meritocracy so that we get a person, regardless of where they come from. If they meet the merit, if they meet the qualification, if they meet the threshold to lead these commissions, they should be given the job without the issue of gender, without the issue of tribe, without the issue of age, because what we need is the best team to take this country to the next level. Those kind of rhetoric is what has surged this country to the mess that we are in the ethnicity and pluralism, so that we cannot think beyond our tribes. Therefore, I do not support the statements made by Cleophas Malala. As a country, we must move from those kind of empty thinking and come to realistic, that we need people who can take this country to the next level, whether they come from the minority tribes in this country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jevan Karanja. Now, Chebukati and the Secretariat were accused by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, while delivering their ruling, we saw that in 2017, accused IEBC and the Secretariat, Chebukati and the Secretariat, of bungling the hotly contested 2017 presidential election, and was found to have been marred by massive irregularities and illegalities. Would not that be indictment enough on Chebukati's part and the current sitting IEBC commissioners, Douglas?
Thank you, Miriam. You know, we need to also look at the 2017 general election. And I think a time has come for Kenyans not even to look at anything. If you preside over one presidential election as an IEBC chairman or those commissioners, you need to retire. We need to have a framework on working about this IEBC issue, because Miriam, year in out, before I was a supporter of Jubilee, and I couldn't see why the opposition were talking. I was bribed to the fact that these electoral reforms are something that we need to be able to have as a country for us to have a smooth running democracy, and also a smooth running state in the name of Kenya. But what we are seeing since 2017, the massive irregularities that we saw, even that led to the annulment in Kenya's history of a presidential election, when you look at it critically, is you point out one man, Wafula Chebukati. This Wafula Chebukati, the chairman of IEBC, continues to preside over an IEBC that has not embraced any reform. They have not changed post 2017, Miriam, with the massive irregularities that they had, with the indictment that was passed on IEBC on their role to be able to run an election that was full of massive irregularities. We have not seen any reforms emanating from Anniversary Towers offices of IEBC. Miriam, when we look at it, this is where I have said before, and I'll repeat it this morning, that we need massive reforms on IEBC before we get into another presidential election, even if it means delaying a presidential election, Miriam, because we cannot afford to go to a presidential election looking at the players that have come out to run for president in this country. There is none of them that the election can be nullified and their supporters accept and move on.
Okay.
Remember, Miriam, at this point, we have a very incredible
Go ahead.
an IEBC that continues presiding over elections. People complain of irregularities. We have no reforms at IEBC, and we continue sanitizing and telling Chebukati that he can preside over another presidential election. He has shown that he is inept, incompetent, and a lawyer that cannot be able to preside over these issues as far as our electoral issues are concerned, Miriam. We are very incredible. As the people of Kenya, we are very incredible. We have faith in our institutions. We have faith in our own capacity to elect our own leaders that we think that can take us to the future, or the promises that they make to us. But when we come to our electoral commission, the IBC it is an institution that has filled the people of Kenya and the ideals of the people of Kenya.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right, so that is just from yesterday's The Star newspaper. We're now Chebukati oversee election as ODM critics abandon reforms push. And also we saw on the 14th, President Uhuru Kenyatta announced that the 4 positions now are vacant. Remember, after they came out in public and resigned, but apparently they did not tender their formal resignation to the president. So now it was announced the positions are vacant and soon they could be filled up. And then now the team might as well take us through the referendum and the next election. So now let's just turn our attention to our topic of the day this morning. And this was prompted again by another headline on the Star newspaper, and the story is on page 4 and 5 of the Star newspaper. So I'll just read a bit of that so that we're able to get the context of what is really happening here. And the title says, Ministers plot to scrap IEBC technology use in 2022 poll. A battle is impending among the state electoral agency and political elites over a reported plan to abolish technology promoting transparency, integrity, and efficiency in elections. The idea is to scrap the Kenya Integrated Election Management System in the planned BBI referendum and 2022 general election. A manual system should be used again. The Star has established 2 cabinet secretaries and top government technocrats have met 3 times in 2 weeks to discuss schemes at length. The argument advanced by the top government officials is that the use of the devices will spread the coronavirus. Well, placed sources say the technology issue is expected to be tabled before the National Security Committee, chaired by President Uhuru Kenyatta, for consideration anytime from now. Okay, so let me just perhaps take us back just a little bit how we got to even using the biometric voter registration, all the schemes there that now we see. Of course, the government has not come out to say this is what it intends to do and this is a position. This is a story that the Star is saying it has a credible, it has established that this is what is happening. Some top-level leadership has been meeting to want to scrap, technology in the upcoming referendum. And also in 2022 general election, citing the issue of coronavirus. So now in 2007, in the aftermath of a devastating post-election violence that ravaged this country, the Kenya government commissioned the Independent Review Commission, IREC, to investigate all aspects of the 2007 general election, with particular emphasis on the presidential contest. And former South African Justice Johan Kriegler led the 7-person and the Secretary of IREC team. The commission was mandated to examine the following aspects of the election. The first one, the constitutional and legal framework to identify any weaknesses or inconsistencies. And the second one, the structure and composition of the then ECK in order to assess its independence, capacity, and functioning. And then the third one, the electoral environment and the role of the political parties, civil society, the media, and the observers. The fourth thing that the commission was supposed to examine is the organization, the conduct of the 2007 elections, extending from civic and voter education and registration through polling, logistics, security, vote counting and tabulation to results, processing, and dispute resolution. The other thing the commission was supposed to look at is vote tallying and counting to assess the integrity of the results of the entire election, with special attention to the presidential contest. The other thing also the commission was supposed to look at, that was led by Johan Kriegler, the functional efficiency of the ECK, the then ECK Electoral Commission of Kenya, now it's IEBC, and its capacity to discharge its mandate. It was also tasked with recommending electoral and other reforms to improve future electoral processes. So out of that, they recommended a biometric voter identification system, which was supposed to prevent people from voting more than once, failed, and electoral clerks had to use the manual system. And the use of BVR was a direct recommendation by the report, taking into account the fact that in its absence in 2007, polls were marred by the incidence of abnormally and suspiciously high voter turnout figures, and we know where the country was in 2007, 2008, after the post-election violence there. So, and now we hear this. Douglas.
Miriam, when you look at it very critically, at this point, we don't have, as a country, the capacity to even believe in IBC today. IBC today has continued being an institution that is not concerned about the aspirations and also the ideals of the people of Kenya. Because, Miriam, when people go to an election,
we've dealt with the
when we go
IBC.
to vote, we go to
Douglas,
vote believing.
Douglas, we've dealt with the IBC factor. I want us to look at now the topic right now, where they're, according to this story on the Star newspaper, and I've given a background as to what necessitated us to be using the Kenya Integrated Election Management Systems, the KIEMS, where it brought the issues of biometric registration and all that, and voting and all that. And now, apparently, their plans are to scrape the use of technology in the upcoming referendum and the general election next year. What do you make of that?
That is where I was going, Miriam.
Okay.
Because when we trusted IBC, that was my point. When we trusted IBC with the technology part and the KIEMS technology, they presided over an election that they didn't even use some of those technology. They resorted to some other means that we don't want to keep speculating about. We don't trust IBC to continue using technology in these elections, Miriam, because before we have voted, we have even voted in by-elections, and everywhere we have voted without technology, and the elections turned out to be fine, including 2002. So there is nothing new, Miriam. In my opinion, including on the way I have lost so much faith in IBC, we need to go manual, and even in 2022, we can go manual, Miriam. People have been going manual in elections, even in the US, even in other democracies. People have been going manual, and there have been no problems before. So I support the going of the way of manual, because at the end of the day, Miriam, what we want are credible elections. And remember, in some instances, there are places where you could go and press your finger on that technology, and they could not detect you in the voter register. So, Miriam, we want a process that we are familiar with, a process that we can be able to verify that someone has voted and their name is in the voter register. We don't want to hear that there is no technology in a northeastern election is not going to take place, so they have resorted now to the manual, because we have had instances of those technology and devices failing. So this issue of changing and scrapping technology in the upcoming referendum and in 2022, I support it fully, because, Miriam, we don't want technological failures and what we have seen IBC in Bango in the last election, Miriam, because in 2017 IBC cost us a lot of our own patience as a people, because at the end of the day, they presided over an election that we did not trust, even using that technology, Miriam. People believe even Chris Mosando died because he was the ICT manager at IBC. They believe that this election was bungled. It was stolen using technology, Miriam. We have had elections. 2002 is a very good example. Very smooth election, no issues, no nothing. So I believe even going manual, Miriam, it is like going now to what you are familiar with. It is like when you are used to using firewood, you get away from using electric cookers and get back to your normal cooking. It will still cook the same food, even tastier. At this point, we have an opportunity to be able to interrogate every vote that has been voted, and also using the voter register, not using technology that cannot be able to detect your own details or capture your own details in the voter register, Miriam. So I believe that it is in good faith, and it is to the good of the people of Kenya. Because, Miriam, when you look at 2017, people cried a lot of tears as far as this is concerned. Chris Mosando would be alive today, Miriam, if it were not for this technology. We don't want to keep losing people because of something that we can do alternatively.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Okay, we seem to have had a technical problem there, even as we look at technology, where and some apparently some people wanting that to be scraped out of the IBC, going on to the referendum and the general election in 2022. Jevan Karanja.
Thank you very much, Miriam, for the question that you're discussing. I don't really understand why they want to scrap the use of technology when we go for this next general election and for the looming referendum. Because to me, I see technology, we are on a very digital world where we need to do things in a speed of lightning, and that is through the use of electronic devices. In the last polls, Miriam, it was clear that both the manual register and the electronic registers were used concurrently. Therefore, the best thing to do is to use both manual and electronic means combined as a hybrid mode, so that if the electronic device fails to identify you, then the name can be checked from the manual voter register. Therefore, at the end of the day, these people saying that the use of electronic means can characterize the speed at which the spread of COVID-19 the spread of COVID-19, then I don't get that logic, because even the use of the manual book, even the use of a pen and a paper can spread this disease. Therefore, it is to the government to ensure that we protect our people from this COVID-19 or from this kind of issues. Because, Miriam, it is clear that we still have people, even in the office. We still use our electronic devices, and it's the office that you see a number of people going in the government institutions. They're still using the electronic modes of operations. Therefore, this issue of saying that we go the manual way, Miriam, I think it would be better if we go for a hybrid system where we use both. Because if we go categorically that we not use the manual, and we go for the manual use of the use of the manual register and the voting and everything else, Miriam, we are staring at a very bad pedestal where this country can go back to the days of what happened in the dark days of 2007, because we know it is easy to manipulate the manual system than the electronic device. Therefore, it is upon us Kenyans, Miriam. It is not upon the CSs or these people are making this kind of allegations or claims. It's upon us as a country to come up with an institution that we can trust. All these issues are coming out because we cannot trust the IBC that we have. If we can trust them, Miriam, nobody will care whether they use manual or electronic, provided the end results will be reflect the will of Kenya. The end result will be credible, will be verifiable, will be free and fair elections, Miriam. We don't care whatever means they use, provided they will provide us with a clean and pure and sure a vote and reflect what the will of the people is. Therefore, that to me is what matters a lot. Therefore, it is upon us as a country, as a people, to work on our electoral systems to ensure that they have the best technology, they have the best manpower, they have the best resources, so that they can guarantee the people of Kenya a free and credible elections. I don't see COVID-19 as an issue as we go for this general election. We have seen people voting in other countries using whatever means, and the issue of COVID-19 was not a big issue to a point where we can scrap the use of technology in such a critical way. I see, Miriam, we need also to boost the technology that we have, so that we can even vote at a comfort of our room, our homes. I think that should be our aim, but not to go backwards to where things were a bit chaotic. Rather, we should aim to better the system that we have, the electoral management system, so that, Miriam, at the end of the day, we can have a system where it can be more efficiency, it can be more accountable, it can be more accessible, such that we can vote from the comforts of our homes or from the comfort of our offices. That should be our aim, but not to go back to the old way of doing things. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And on The Star attempted to get a comment from IBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati and Acting Chief Executive Officer Marjan Hussein, but they did not get a response. or they did not respond to their calls, nor text messages come, and spokesman Sarah Suguna also did not respond. But Jubilee Deputy Secretary General Joshua Kutunyi dismissed the claims, saying as far as he's concerned, the Jubilee government has not discussed the matter. So as I've said there, the Jubilee government has not discussed the matter, but I don't know if, has not discussed the matter. And so this is just a story on the Star newspaper, but they're saying that they have established. So when a newspaper says they have established, that means they've checked the facts and cross-checked the facts, and whatever they're saying is the truth. But the government has not come and said this is what we want to do. And so Oscar Sudi,
if the use of technology is going to spread corona, we need to protect our people from any form. We don't want to speculate the health of poor people in this nation. We have established that even with COVID-19, it is only rich people that can go to India. I have some news that is speculating that our governor has been airlifted to India. But how many poor people can be airlifted to India after voting in a referendum and election? Let us go to the manual way of voting. If this thing is going to spread corona, let us protect the people of Kenya. Because at the end of the day, Miriam, you need to look at it in the context of, is it a rumor? Can it really spread the corona and kill the people? If it has to kill, it can kill the people, even one. We need to stop that technology, because even in 2017, I still remember what that technology did to the people of Kenya. So if it can fail even in one region, we need to stop it and go to the manual way of doing stuff the way we know it.
Is it technology?
And this issue of killing people, if it is going to kill people, Miriam, let us stop this.
What do you mean it's going to kill people? That's why you have sanitizers, surely. The government of Kenya can afford it and people can sanitize. That argument does not hold for me. Convince me with other issues,
Miriam,
but not
the
that.
issue is, Miriam,
But no, before you come in, Javen, before you come in, I just still want to engage Douglas just a little bit. Oscar Sudi here is saying we are aware of the meetings that have been ongoing for fear of embarrassing defeat, and as part of their wider evil schemes, they want to twist the IEBC to abolish the use of technology. So this is what Oscar Sudi is saying. We know how he feels about government and all that. But this could very well be what a lot of Kenyans would think, that this would be a form of manipulation of the results or something like that. And we know how our electoral process is. Douglas, don't you
even if we use technology, if someone wants to steal an election in Africa, they will steal an election, Miriam. What we are calling is credible elections. People come out, they vote for their own candidates and go home. Actually, they should not even stay there guarding votes. They should vote and go home. Technology, manual, anyone that is about to steal elections, they'll just steal and give a 54% to themselves and everyone goes home. This country is not going anywhere after you lose an election, Miriam. So we need to put it in black and white. Because, Miriam, a person that is even in the US, Biden and Trump was crying every day, Deep State wants to steal elections from me. Afterwards, he started saying they have stolen from me, and he is in Florida, he is in his home at Mar-a-Lago. So, Miriam, at the end of the day, we cannot continue speculating about the stealing of elections 1 year to elections. We need to sanitize, stay away from coronavirus, defeat the pandemic. If elections come, we vote and go home. Whoever becomes our president, that is our leader.
Okay. All right. Jivan, you had something to say.
Yeah, thank you very much, Miriam. I really don't get that logic that we use the manual so to protect ourselves from COVID-19. If it's about protecting ourselves from COVID-19, the best remedy is not to participate in that election. Therefore, that should be the excellent way to protect ourselves if we are talking about the gathering and so on. Because I understand when you use the manual, you go into the voting booth, you get a pen there, you get the ballot paper. This ballot paper will be distributed by someone. Therefore, at the end of the day, something needs to be done. But that argument that we do away with the electronic, Miriam, will indulge this country to a full-blown civil strife, Miriam, because Kenyans will not agree with the outcome, especially when we use the word manual or analog. Everybody will say that elections was not fair. Even those guys who gather 1,000 votes, Miriam, they will come out fire breathing that their votes have been stolen. Therefore, at the end of the day, at least we have been used to this technology from 2013 to 2017. We should be thinking on how we can better the technological atmosphere that we have in the country to ensure that in the places where the technology used to fail, like in the northern eastern, they have a 5G connections or a 4G connection, or they have a way, or we can use both the manual and the electronic means to ensure that we guarantee ourselves a credible election. But that will come to play, Miriam, only if we see in the public domain, in the public eye, that we have an IBC that we can trust. If we can work on that to change the image, to change the narrative, and to create a perspective that we have an IBC commission, an electoral commission that can be trusted by the public, Miriam, it will not matter whether we use the manual or the electronic means. Provided Kenya have that trust, you'll see them trusting the process, and it's high time, Miriam, that we work on our institutions to strengthen our institution so that we move from this issue of having some few people determining our electoral results in boardrooms. We need to have strong institutions that what they say, that is what the public thinks ought to be have said.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, a section of leaders have warned that abolishing the technology on the pretext of public health concerns and curbing the spread of coronavirus is part of a wider scheme to rig the referendum and the 2022 polls. Manual systems are far easier to manipulate. Those who spoke to the Star about the use of technology said it is essential for election integrity and efficiency and to prevent rigging. And you know, Douglas, you and I know that Kenya in this region has the best ICT infrastructure. We know that we are the best. We have a good internet. You can't compare us with Uganda, with Tanzania, South Sudan, and the rest in this region. This part of Africa, I think we're doing pretty well. We are leading in terms of ICT and the infrastructure that we see in the country and we enjoy in the country. And technology has been working elsewhere when it comes to election. Why can't it work here? Douglas.
Miriam, you know technology. I work in the software industry, and sometimes technology can just fail. When you're working with a team of even 10 developers, and you've decided that the payment system will be this, it is just jams. And at the end of the day, Miriam, people who talk about the efficiency of technology and all that. Yes, technology is very efficient, but it can also be very lethal when it is mostly needed. Why do you think that even an M-Pesa transaction fails when mostly needed? So we need to also protect ourselves from this narrative of technology is efficient, it is easier and all that. We need to also have an alternative, like Jevan was saying. We need to be able to think manual. We need to think manual in as far as we can be able to do that. If I want to go to Mombasa, I can go via train, via a plane, and also I can also go to Mombasa via bus, or I can even decide to walk. If walking can be able to determine that I will be safe, I'll go with a percentage that says that I should be safe. So we need to be able to think through that. Technology in our country, technological penetration in our country is at an all-time high. But at the end of the day, we need to ask ourselves very critical questions. In 2017, the Marchtown 10 KM's technology failed. And also the IBC itself. We can have the best technology, but if we have not even reformed this IBC of Chebukati, we have a lot of huge problems. So Miriam, I'm not saying entirely that technology can fail during an election day, but I'm saying there is a possibility that technology can be able to draw back, to draw the country back, and also undo the gains that we have been able to do. Because Miriam, what is wrong with having, like Jevan was saying, like having manual
we still have technology.
We can combine them. Or we can all together forget technology for now and see how we do a referendum. Then we use it in 2022 because Miriam.
I don't know if you voted.
Yes, Miriam, what I say?
I don't know if you voted that election and last year's 2017, because I did vote, and they have to check your name through the register first. And then after that, that's when you go and vote, and they take you confirm the biometrics and all that. So both are there. It's not 100% technological process. It's not 100% scientific process, but there is that physical checking of the register there of your name before you go and vote and do that.
We should rather go manual, media, because at the end of the day, we don't even want to lose any other Chris Mosandos in this world. The death of Chris Mosando dealt this country a very huge blow. Because Miriam, we need to see this perspective that Chris Mosando has to die in 2022 for us to use technology as a means to an election, as a means to a political office. We need to think manually. In 2002, when Kibaki was getting elected, there was nothing close to technology. I was a very few years old. I think I was in standard 1. And these people woke up in the morning and voted en masse and sent a dictator home in the morning and their party. They were using manual, and there was nothing like technology in 2002. In 2022, if people want to vote for Douglas Bundi Kiremi, they wake up en masse and vote manually. Actually, a majority of our percentage of a majority of our population don't understand these technological issues. Miriam, I'm talking for people in my village. I'm talking for people in West Pokot, in Kamarin, where they are waiting for a stadium many years later. I'm talking for people in USN Gishu, in Kipchoge Keino Stadium, where they are waiting for a stadium many years later. Miriam, need to look at it this way. I can use technology to do anything that I want, but why in 2002 we voted for President Kibaki en masse, and people voted for him without anything, and there was no rigging actually. Miriam, Kenya is very important. Again, why would we use technology and also counter-check in the other regions? Let us go manual in 2022 and improve on what we did in 2002 and voted in the most transparent and the most honest election in our history. Because, Miriam, we have a benchmark to look at. This is not entirely about rigging. Why do people, if you want to lose an election in this country, I'm a politician, keep talking about imaginary people who are going to vote to steal your election. That is what Raila sometimes uses to brainwash his people. Even where he can see clearly he is going to lose to President Kenyatta, he would wake up and say, they are going to steal, they are going to rig. In 2002, Miriam, we have a clear benchmark. We sent a president who stayed in power for about 24 years, home and his own party. We sent them home until that time. Until today, that party has never recovered from that political defeat, Miriam. Let us do it in 2022. Let us go manual and forget about technology, Miriam. We can do technology, but technology can fail. Manual has never failed this country. It's not going to fail in 2020. Let us go manual that we used in 2022 and use it in 2022, Miriam.
Okay, so
Miriam,
do you appreciate?
I'm seeing ourselves going back even to the queuing, the Mulolongo system.
Exactly my thought. I said Douglas just wants to take us back to 1924. I don't know.
1988 when Moi used the Mulolongo system.
You see, Jeman, we need to also look at the way we do our elections. We have an IBC that we don't trust 100%.
So
when
now,
they have these
are we
passwords and everything,
and I get your point. So are we using, because we do have a problem with the IBC. So should we deal with the IBC there and streamline the commission, or now we are just going to use technology as a scapegoat?
Exactly, Miriam. Including using technology is not even a problem. What I'm saying is we cannot afford to go to elections with Chebukati as the chairman, or even those people that Ijavan was talking about fumigation, from the janitor at IBC, from the man that was writing bad things on Twitter, to the man that is heading the commission himself. The people that are being sought to replace the other commissioners, we need to have fresh faces there. We cannot afford. Kenyans need to basic civic education on IBC and these issues. When we take this technology, we hand it over to IBC of Chebukati and his commissioners and give them those passwords so that they can steal our own elections. In 2017, they made an election to be nullified. We need to sanitize IBC, fumigate from the janitor, from the watchman to the chairman himself. Send everyone home and do reforms there. Then we can even go technology. I have no problem. I don't trust IBC. I don't trust Chebukati. I don't trust even a janitor. The cleaner at IBC. I don't.
Jevan, I mean, Douglas today is just taking us on a roller coaster. He's saying Msando died because of technology, so we don't need it. But at the same time, we need it. I'm confused. Could you help me understand what Douglas is saying?
Yeah, thank you very much, Miriam. No, Douglas today is taking us around like the people of Israel. When they were coming from Misri, they reached a point where they were going around the hills for many years, around 20 years.
Absolutely.
What Douglas is saying is that we need to have, and this is what I'm saying, we need to have an IBC that we can trust. And Miriam, to have an IBC that we can trust is to have systems that can outlive Chebukati, to have systems that even if we have a new commissioner in place, the system will continue running. We have a framework that will be there. and we live even when these individuals leave office. The problem we have in this country, we concentrate more, even to some extent, even myself, I'm a culprit of this. We concentrate more on who leads the commissioner rather than the system and the mechanisms that we have in place to ensure that we have a credible election. If we can formulate and have systems and mechanisms and frameworks to ensure that we have a credible election, Miriam, we'll not be so much determined on who leads the commission. The problem in this country, we go more for the individual. We individualize, personalize everything, that Chebukati or Hussein Mohammed or whatever, rather than concentrating on ensuring that we have the best technology, we have the best manpower, we have the best softwares, hardwares that can be able to guarantee ourselves credibility in our elections. And that is why I'm recommending, if it's about using the technology, let us have better technology than what we had last year, last general election, so that we can guarantee ourselves more successes in future and in future elections to come. And that will only happen if everybody, if the parliament, if the IBC, if all Kenyans come together and we fight and we ensure that we have institutions that we can trust. That is why, Miriam, you see, even the fight against corruption, the EACC, nobody trusts what the EACC says. Nobody trusts what the NCIC says. Nobody trusts what the DCI does. Some quarters don't trust because of the individual. When you talk of DCI, you see Kenoti. When you talk of EACC, you see the commissioner, the chairman of these commissions. We need to we move from this individual point of perspective, and we go and look at what is EACC, what can we do better in EACC, rather than seeing how to repress these individuals, and we are not rectifying the mess that is already creeping in, and which has already, to some extent, have gone these taproots that it's hard even to eliminate some of this mess. Even if we bring an angel to some of these institutions, Miriam, it will be hard, Miriam, even if we change whatever, is about having mechanisms in place, systems in place that Kenyans will trust. That is the only sure way that we can come out of this fight of elections and ethnicity and so on. So because we guarantee ourselves credibility in our elections. But what Douglas is saying, that we use manual, we go back to more used to do whatever, then, Miriam, we are losing the bigger picture, because when we go the manual way, we might even flip to Mulolongo system, where we start queuing for the candidates. This is a technological era. We need to boost what we already have and to better the institution, and we move from these bad behaviors that we have as Kenyans of looking at the person. We concentrate more on the person of Chebukati rather than what IBC can be done to be better. Thank you.
Yes, we are the inventors of M-Pesa, which now the whole world has adopted. But we can never get our elections right. It just beats logic there. So now the KM's kit, some fact sheet that the Star has outlined here for us. The features in these kits: identifies voters through an electronic voter identification, EVID system. EVID system is made up of a laptop attached with fingerprint reader, and then fitted with biometric voter registration system, and the BVR captures voters' facial image, fingerprints, and civil data. The usage: biometric identification of voters and electronic transmission of election results. That is the usage of this kit. And why was it introduced in Kenya's election? To weed out ghost voters. And then what was the cost of these kits? 6 billion Kenya shillings. So the country really invested there a lot of money for this to improve on our efficiency and at least attempt to get a free and fair election. We've been attempting, but I'm sure one day we'll get it right. I don't know, Douglas, I'm sure there's nothing else you want to add to this conversation right now. But as I said there, this was the headline on the Star newspaper. The government of Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta, has not come out to tell us that the government is planning to scrape the IEBC technology in use in 2022 polls. So until that is made official, we will assume that Douglas's fingerprints are still required there. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. This has been the People's Court. We'll see you again. I'll see you here at 3 p.m. with Diaspora Dispatches, where I'll take us through the news making headlines across the continent of Africa. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Bye-bye for now.